amazing achievements of modern science, and she'd found encouragement in the way people had supported each other.
We continue to be inspired by the kindness of strangers and draw comfort that even on the darkest nights there is hope in the new dawn.
She recalled that this year was the centenary of the burial of an unknown serviceman in Westminster Abbey, an unnamed hero from an earlier generation who'd become a symbol of selfless duty.
He represents millions like him, who throughout our history have put the lives of others above their own, and will be doing so today. For me, this is a source of enduring hope in difficult and unpredictable times.
For many, the Queen said, Christmas would be a particularly difficult time.
Of course, for many, this time of year will be tinged with sadness, some mourning the loss of those dear to them, and others missing friends and family members, distanced for safety. And all they really want for Christmas is a simple hug or a squeeze of the hand. If you are among them, you are not alone. And let me assure you of my thoughts and prayers.
The reference to a hug or a squeeze of the hand was a human touch, the kind of language the Queen doesn't often use publicly, deployed today in a Christmas Day message of hope and reassurance. Nicholas Witchell, BBC News.
The coronavirus pandemic has also featured heavily in the festive messages from religious leaders. The Archbishop of Canterbury said that despite what he called this year of anxiety, there were many gifts of hope, including the vaccines. Pope Francis called for universal access to inoculation. Worshippers around the world have had to mark Christmas very differently this year, as Helena Wilkinson reports.
St Peter's Square, empty and eerily quiet. Normally, thousands gather for the Pope's Christmas Day message. This year,
nobody there.
Francis spoke from inside the Vatican.
Nobody
The
there.
heart of his address was the pandemic. He said the vaccine brought hope at a time of darkness and urged world leaders to ensure that everyone had access. The pandemic has left many places of worship empty this Christmas. Midnight Mass at Westminster Cathedral in London was held online only. At Canterbury Cathedral, they did gather today at a social distance. The Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, reflected on what the pandemic had shown us.
In this Christmas of absence, mourning and restrictions of all kinds, are there any gifts of good news under the tree? Any gifts of hope? Well, there are many. The vaccine is a gift of hope. Our sense of community and mutual care has changed so much. That is a gift of hope.
How are you, Raymond?
Many churches across the country have held services online this Christmas, like St James Evangelical Church in Carlisle. Others with space were able to invite churchgoers in. At St Mary's Church in Congleton near Cheshire, they were able to book a pew, one per household bubble.
Well, I think it's wonderful. I think the old place has been going for 1,000 years now, so we couldn't let it down and miss a Christmas. We had to find a way.
Christmas this year has been difficult for so many. The messages from religious leaders have been ones of comfort, light and hope in darkness. Helena Wilkinson, BBC News.
EU ambassadors have been given a Christmas Day briefing about the post-Brexit trade deal reached with the UK by the bloc's chief negotiator, Michel Barnier. Here, MPs will vote on the deal in Parliament next week before the existing trade rules expire on the 31st of December. Here's our political correspondent, Leila Nathu.
Glad tidings, great joy, because this is a deal.
Some light reading. The post-Brexit deal agreed yesterday between Britain and the EU runs to more than 1,200 pages. This morning, the man who negotiated it for the EU side, Michel Barnier, briefed ambassadors of EU member states on its detail.
What's the plan for today then?
Mission accomplished.
What's in that blue folder sets out how the EU and
Thank
UK
you
will
for
trade and
subscribing.
cooperate following the new year.
Please subscribe. Thank you.
Why don't you shut up?
I'm just making
The deal
record.
was done in the nick of time, with the UK already out of the EU and transition arrangements expiring within days. MPs and peers will have until Wednesday to digest the detail before being called back to Parliament for a debate. There are unlikely to be any hold-ups in Westminster, though. Labour is set to back it.
We will certainly be better off with this deal, and we have to make